want to hear about some drama?
Of course.
There's a little drama in my life here that has come in. And I don't even want to call it drama. I want to maybe call it a lesson. There's been a lesson coming in.
That's how we're going to now, moving forward, this is how we're going to now reframe lessons or drama.
Drama is lesson. The D to the L.
That's good.
So I had an ex reach out and ask for closure, which has never happened to me before. Maybe not never. And I don't want to say I've necessarily been like friendly with my exes, but there's only been a couple that I've been like, you're done. This one is one that I was like, you're done. And so that's why I'm very interested as to what do you think that is? Like, because the way that it was framed and brought to me from this person was like, hey, I didn't like the way things ended. This past year has been hard for me. Like, and then through the message and the subtext, it sort of seemed to be like assuming that I was also having a hard time and that I also need this closure and that I also, that it's like this 50-50 equal thing. And I'm like, no, like I'm really happy. I moved on in a healthy way, I feel, and I carry probably some anger, probably still some residual stuff, but I'm not crying about it every day. I did that already. Like I did it. I went deep in, dug it all up, and there are things that come up now, absolutely, but for the most part I'm done. And this is like a year later, over a year. So I'm like, WTF? And then part two, do I do it? Do I give that? Do I owe that?
That question I can answer quite easily. No, you don't. Nobody owes. Like if it's a contract and you've signed and I owe you this and we will do this, I would say then you owe because you gave the word, you gave the signature. That means something, at least for me. And then you would owe something. Like you lend money, let's say from a bank and you give you a signature, you make that deal, you put that.
Yeah, you're on the hook for that one.
Yeah, and but like from a bigger scale, I think there are a couple of options here happening. Because I don't know if it's like very clear cut.
Mm-hmm. The question that's popping into my mind is like, how would you extract the lessons from that?
The bigger lessons?
Mm-hmm. Because I think a lot of people go through this, where a relationship has ended and then one person reaches out and says closure.
Well, it's not really maybe closure.
It feels like trying to open a door.
Yeah, I had the same type of feeling. But like this is the thing where you're like let's pull it back a little bit, because every person, whatever happens, is in the end you're responsible for yourself. If you're an adult, we can put different ages on it. Maybe it's 18, maybe it's 21, maybe it's 25, maybe it's 30. Who knows exactly? But like at a certain point, you become an adult. And then at that point you're mostly responsible, or 100% responsible how you feel, how you process things, all the closures you're going to have, and it's your responsibility to process these things as well. So for me it's always like do I need to go to that person, or can I process this myself? And maybe there's grief, maybe there's even anger. Maybe there's some things left unsaid. Very often, that happens, in romantic, every friendship, business, whatever it is. But even in those cases, it's still like, do you need to go to them, or can you process anger on with yourself?
So you're saying like, do I need that person physically in front of me to be able to achieve this emotional freedom or whatever?
Exactly. I would first and foremost, that's where I would go. Do I need it as a person? And I would do that because I've had, let's say, similar experiences where I've had, let's say, breakups and stuff like that, and I've had to, let's say, I've actually, for me, I've never asked for closure personally. I've dealt with it all on my own, in a way, but using maybe sometimes a guide or a therapist sometimes, But like the point I'm making is I think a person really needs to ask that first, and if the answer there is like, okay, I really, the person is alive, and I really need to say these things to this person. Like, again, I would ask why. What's the reason? Why do I have to say? What will I get? Am I doing my best to achieve something? Am I getting something from them, etc.? And if the answer is I want to get closure, truly, to break up and go on your own path, maybe you can contact that person and see if they're open and willing. But you still have to be, ready and willing for them to say no, because that's their prerogative. They might be already, like you said, I'm pretty done. I'm pretty closed off here, Like that. Because that happened to me once, and it was a weird situation because this person called me, and I was, it was almost very late in the evening as well, and I was kind of confused because that person broke things off with me. And I was like, okay, so that's strange. And we had this conversation, and the person said to me, "Is like, is there anything you want to say to me?" And I was like, kind of like dumbfounded. In that moment, I didn't even really have anything to say. And all of that kind of like situation for me, it kind of like dragged it up again. And it wasn't in a kind of like a closure type way at all. It didn't feel closure because that person, I contacted them, and then they contacted me after. It was a mess afterwards. It kind of like dragged everything up again when it was kind of like already being closed up, I would say. So I would say there's dangers there as well, to kind of like dig it up when you can really, just process it on your own.
Right. I mean, and I guess like for me, it would be kind of a test to see if the closure and all that stuff really is done for me on my end, because it feels done. I'm like, I don't even think about this person like ever.
You can use it as that and take a lesson from that, obviously. And that's the lesson. And, some of those, the weird part is, Mercedes, you don't all the lessons you can't know from this place, because a lot of those lessons you will understand after the meeting is done, and you're like, oh, F this, this is why.
Just kind of got to walk through the hot coals.
But it's like, it's in the end, it's your decision. Like, did you want to open up that door and like, is it necessary?
I don't want to, but I feel that I will learn something, so I'm going to.
There's your answer. Because literally, if you even in today's day, what's the word, whatever, modern world, you go around and look at online posts and stuff like that. People go do these breakup parties and kind of like closure celebration of the time together and weird things. I always found them very strange. Very strange. Maybe it's my judgment, maybe it's my kind of like negative outlook on that, but I don't know if I need that with that person.
You mean like people who were a couple, they have a party together to break up with all their friends?